Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. Hope you guys are having a great night. It is Christmas Eve as we are recording this podcast. Uh, we're on a West Coast trip, so that's why we're recording on Christmas Eve. But Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you guys that are listening and watching right now. Hope you're spending this holiday with your family and loved ones or whoever you're spending time with. Hope you guys are just staying safe and enjoying yourself. Maybe get some time off of work. But let's get into this post-game show, you guys. Pistons were on the second night of a back-to-back against the Sacramento Kings in this one. Injury report for the Detroit Pistons really quick. No Ron Holland. He was questionable, though, with a knee sprain. They had imaging on it. They don't really know the severity of it or how long he is going to be out. So that is something that we'll keep an eye on. Maybe we will see him on the 26th against the Utah Jazz. In Utah, Pistons do have a couple of days off after playing a back-to-back. So they get to spend Christmas in Utah. So maybe they'll go skiing or something. Who knows? So just to start off, Ron Holland, this game, very fast pace for the Detroit Pistons. It was on full display. They were very handsy. They were getting steals. They were forcing turnovers by the Sacramento Kings. And Tobias Harris, bounce back game. 3 dunks in the first quarter. I don't think I saw 3 dunks. Yeah, I probably did, but I forgot. I can't remember the last time I've seen 3 dunks out of Tobias Harris in the Detroit Pistons uniform in both stints. 10 years ago under Stan Van Gundy, but tonight under JB Bickerstaff, he had 3 dunks, some cleanup dunks, and he was great. He was really great in this game. Isaiah Stewart, also I have to kind of give him a shout out. He had a great game as well off the bench, and he was just in just such great position in this first quarter against Maxine Renault and Precious Achua, and just taking advantage of the smaller defender on him at times. Jaden Ivey was really looking to pass him the ball in the first quarter, but Pistons explode in this first quarter, almost dropping 40 points. 37-24 was the first quarter score. Cade had 10 points to lead them. Stu had 7 points. Tobias had 6. So, you're starting these games off strong, which you love to see from a team like the Pistons. And I love it. Getting into the second quarter, the Pistons just dissected the Sacramento Kings zone. Teams have been trying to run more zone at the Pistons, obviously, because they're not the best three-point shooting team, but tonight they made a lot of the three-pointers, especially in the third quarter, which we'll get into in a little bit. Stu is still very active, scoring. Asar picked up a tech, which the official completely missed the call. He got whacked in the face. Then he has a putback dunk. And he told the refs, like, I got hit. And then JB just grabbed him right away because I don't think he wanted a reoccurring theme from the Dallas game where he got in the ref's face and got ejected. But Tobias just continued to hit shots, and the Pistons had a pretty big lead. They dropped 75 points on the Kings at halftime. Kings only had 58, but I expected the Kings trying to get back into this game. This is a team that is just full of veterans. When you look down the roster, former Piston Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, who had 37 points tonight. But the Kings came out of halftime, and they're looking to run and score. And they got the Pistons lead down to 10 points. And it just got to a point where it was Jalen Duren's turn to kind of impact the scoring, and he's had back-to-back third quarters where he just looks like he's a man possessed. I believe he had 16 points in this third quarter, and for a majority of this third, it was just all Jalen Duren because the Pistons kind of came out a little bit of sluggish coming out of halftime. But every time Sacramento was trying to surge, trying to get back into this game, make it 8-point game, the Pistons were just hitting corner three. And I think the three-point shooting really helped them tonight. But to end the third quarter, Pistons had 115 points to Sacramento's 97. The fourth quarter, I honestly felt like it was a pretty big lead by the Pistons, and I was like, okay, let's put this one away. Rest up. You got a couple days off, but the Pistons at times just keep their foot off the gas. And Asar talked about it in the post game interview with FanDuel that like we don't want to be put in situations where we keep having to do this and it becomes a habit. The Kings made this an interesting game down the stretch. I never really felt like the Pistons were going to lose this game. It was just a thing where I was like, okay, close them out. Don't give them any sort of life. But I think the turnovers really did kill the Pistons in the fourth for the reason why the Kings were able to, get into back into this game a little bit towards the end. But 136 to 127, Pistons are on a 3-game winning streak with the win over Charlotte. The win over, I can't even remember who we played last game. I'm just so damn tired right now, but they're on a 3-game winning streak. So excuse me if I don't remember who we played. Portland, and then the Kings. Okay. Kind of came back to me as I'm talking a little bit more, but yeah, this game went how I expected it to. No Zach LaVine, no Domantas Sabonis. Kings have their injuries. They're a 7-win basketball team right now, a very expensive basketball team full of veterans, but Pistons took care of a team that was banged up with injuries, and they're just not a good team. There are some players on that roster that, if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I was surprised to see Malik Monk so deep and buried in the rotation. This guy was in sixth man of the year voting. He didn't win it, obviously, but I think he got like second or third place a few years ago, and he didn't come into the game until like the second quarter. That's a guy they can score and facilitate, which I was kind of surprised by. But Sacramento is just a hot mess. I mean, last time the Pistons played Sacramento, Jaden Ivey hit that buzzer beater. Mike Brown got fired. TBD if Doug Christie gets fired. You never know, but I'm not wishing anyone getting fired. But the Kings are just a mess, just the way the roster is constructed. But let's get into the box score, and then we'll open up the show to comments and questions with this game if you did stay up for it. If you didn't, I don't blame you guys. It is late, but we do have the box score, pulled up. I'm gonna take a drink of water and then we'll power through this. So Tobias Harris in 29 minutes tonight, you guys. 24 points, 10 out of 16 from the field, 50% from three out of six, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, added 4 rebounds, 4 assists. And like he'll have games where he can really score the basketball. It'll be like 24, 28 points, really efficient. And then he'll have nights where it's just like it's maybe he drops like 12 and the shot selection just didn't go in that night. But I mean, very inconsistent, but I was happy to see him, bounce back. I kind of questioned, if his ankle was bothering him. He looked great tonight. So happy to see him have a bounce back game in this one. Duncan Robinson in 31 minutes had 9 points, 3 out of 7 from the field, 3 out of 7 from three, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 1 steal. He had probably one of the most beautiful wraparound passes to Jalen Duren. I don't know if you guys caught this tonight. Really, really beautiful pass. The chemistry that he's building with Jalen Duren is growing game by game, and I love to see it. I think a lot of us, when we signed him, were very excited because the way that he had chemistry with Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson is starting to grow that with Jalen Duren game by game, and you see it every night. Speaking of Jalen Duren, 32 minutes tonight, 23 points, 10 out of 15 from the field. Very efficient on his part. 3 out of 7 from the free throw line, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 block shots, 7 offensive rebounds for Jalen Duren. He was just so great tonight. He's back to scoring, getting you 20 and 10. And he's probably going to be an all-star this year. I really think so. I think Jalen Duren has the possibility to make the all-star team with Cade Cunningham this year, and the Pistons could possibly have 2 players and a coach out an all-star weekend this year. So be interesting to see how the voting does go. Believe on Christmas Day, the votes are tripled. So one of your votes counts as three. So if you're not voting for Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, or whatever, all stars you want to vote for, or your favorite Pistons, or, non NBA, non Pistons players that you want to vote to the All Star game, your votes are tripled on Christmas Day tomorrow. So go out there and vote, you guys. Speaking of Cade Cunningham, 39 minutes in this one, and we're going to get into just the turnovers. So he had 23 points, 8 out of 15 from the field, 2 out of 5 from three, 5 out of 6 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 14 assists, 9 turnovers, 5 steals. I think some of the turnovers when I was watching it, like if he had to have that possession back, he probably, doesn't make that pass. He did get doubled a little bit, but, back to back games, he's had high turnover games, and he was doing such a good job of taking care of the basketball over like the last week or so. But I mean, 9 turnovers tonight, 5 turnovers the night before. He's got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. I mean, 9 turnovers is just atrocious. Like you can't have that as a lead point guard. Asar Thompson in this one in 36 minutes play. That's actually pretty high minutes for him. Obviously, not having Ron Holland is probably a big factor for that. But he had 19 points, 6 out of 13 from the field, 7 out of 10 for the free throw line. Love to see him hit his free throws. 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Just a really sound game from him. As of late, he's been way more aggressive scoring the basketball. And, he talked about it with FanDuel during the broadcast, saying, like, I'm trying to be more aggressive because I feel like Cade and Duren and Tobias have an offensive load. And if I can help out in any way, excuse me, you guys. He wants to help, be more of a scoring threat. I mean, if you're getting 19 points from Asar Thompson, the Pistons are going to be very difficult to beat on any given night. Isaiah Stewart led all scoring off the bench in 21 minutes. He cashed in 16 points, shot 50% from the field, 6 out of 12. Shot 2 out of 6 from three, perfect from the free throw line, 2 out of 2, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block shot. His minutes were really huge in the first quarter. Just the way he was just scoring on a taller defender, a Maxine Renault, and just taking advantage of his mismatches when the Kings did decide to switch. Javonte Green in 18 minutes had 9 points, shot 50% from the field, 3 out of 6, 50% from three, made 1 out of 2, perfect from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover, 1 steal. 2 offensive rebounds. He had a couple pretty big offensive rebounds for the Pistons in this one. Karis LeVert in 19 minutes played tonight at 5 points, 2 out of 6 from the field, 1 out of 3 from three, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Did stuff to stat sheet. Still very what's the word I'm looking for? Watching him play, entertaining at times, because I never know what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be a make. I don't know if it's going to be just a bang bang play where he just kind of gets tunnel vision and tries to just get into his bag and score in isolation. But had his 5 points tonight. Jaden Ivey, obviously still on that minute restriction. 14 minutes, 8 points, 3 out of 5 from the field. 2 for 3 out of from 3-point land. Love to see that. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 block shots in this one. He was a plus 15. Did pick up 4 fouls in this one. He got a foul for flopping, which I didn't even think that was a flopping call. But Jaden Ivey is starting to put together good game after good game. I don't know when he's going to get lifted off the minute restriction. JB actually talked about it yesterday that, it's really hard for a player like Ivey, coming back after breaking his leg and kind of getting into rhythm, coming back from injury. But I'll be interested to see whose minutes kind of get depleted in this one. And obviously, there were some DMPs, coaches' decisions, as you guys can see. Paul Reed didn't play, Marcus Sasser didn't play, and Dennis Jenkins didn't play. So JB kind of shortened his rotation a little bit in this one. So I do want to get into comments and questions with you guys. I do see a couple of you had stayed up late. You're in the live chat right now. So I am going to open up the show as an open forum for comments and questions. So if you guys have any type of things you want to talk about. The floor is yours right now. We'll start with RVK 117, and he has a comment about the 3-point shooting tonight. I said, when the threes are falling, you can see everyone exhale, play more carefree, and the ball pings around more. More reason to acquire a premium shooting Michael Porter Jr. if the price is right. I see MPJ's name every day amongst Pistons fans, and I understand it from a basketball standpoint. I don't really know what the asking price for a Michael Porter Jr. would be. I don't. It's probably a couple of draft picks. You're probably sending out Tobias and Levert to make the salaries match. But I do agree with this comment in terms of looking to add more 3-point shooting. Obviously, Duncan Robinson holds so much gravity when defenses really look to run him off the 3-point line. And I think adding another perimeter shooter, another 3-point specialist, I think would really alleviate a lot of the problems that the Pistons, could face in a long NBA season, and especially in the playoffs, because come playoff time, they'll look to run Duncan Robinson off the 3-point line. They'll look to try to attack him defensively. So I think if you're Trajan and the Pistons, you are open to acquiring 3-point shooters. We've talked about a few. I think down the line, what I'm probably going to do is look at every NBA team and look at a 3-point shooter I think the Pistons could possibly target. Maybe that'll be a fun little podcast before the trading deadline ends. A project I could work on for you guys, kind of just looking at, under the radar 3-point shooters that wouldn't break the bank in terms of breaking this team up or in chemistry wise, right? Because obviously you want to keep this chemistry alive. I mean, you're 24-6, first 30 games of the season. A lot of things are clicking for this team. And the strengths of this team is obviously getting to the free throw line, which they really didn't get to the free throw line as much as the Kings did tonight. But, playing bully ball in the paint and, running transition, which I think are strengths of this team. But I think we can all have a conversation about the 3-point shooting on this team, and it's not the same as it was last year. So I think addressing that at the deadline is something that Trajan and the Pistons front office will look at, because if you want to have a deep playoff run, you have to have good 3-point shooting. Got a comment from a fan from Rochester High. I live in Portland and went to the game last night. Just off the floor. It was amazing. These guys are unbelievable. To do it in 2 nights in a row on the road like this. Well, shout out to you that you've been a fan since the bad boy days. Love to hear that. You were at the Portland Trailblazers game last night. Man, that probably had to be a crazy game, like if you're a Piston fan, because like they're winning that game. And the fourth quarter was kind of like a mini collapse by the Pistons. You didn't really know if they were going to come out and win it. And obviously they did prevail, just having like really key big plays by Tobias and Jalen Duren and the Sar down the stretch. But love to hear that. I agree, man. Like anytime you can go out west and beat these teams. Obviously, Portland is not like a tanking team by any means. They have some players. Like Denny Avdia is a very good player. Donovan Clingan is going to be a really good center for years to come. Tamati Kamara is a very good defensive player. Like Portland's got some players. Sacramento, on the other hand, like my buddy Sean Murphy, who we have on the podcast, he always jokes and calls them Chicago Bulls West, right? Because it's basically a bunch of players that used to play for the Chicago Bulls that now are on the Kings. But I mean, anytime you can win a back-to-back, I think it's good. The way that this team is gelling right now after, bouncing back after a very tough loss against the Dallas Mavericks, they go on a 3-game winning streak. And I think that really just shows to the coaching that JB Bickerstaff has got these guys prepared night in and night out. And I think you love to see that as a Piston fan. We do have a comment actually talking about the Pistons record. It comes from Marquez. And it says the Pistons have now won 80%, 24-6, first 30 games of the season. Great win on a back-to-back with a shorter rotation tonight. JB continues to push the right buttons. Yeah, I mean, if you just kind of look, so we're 30 games in an 82 game season, still a lot of games to play, but we're a third of the season, right? I think it's safe to say that the Detroit Pistons are a good basketball team. This isn't a fluke like some of the media thinks it is. Some radio hosts don't buy a record. They don't buy the Detroit Pistons being a threat to the New York Knicks or a threat to the Eastern Conference. But I think it's safe to say that the Detroit Pistons have entered the chat as a top dog in the Eastern Conference. 24-6. It's a completely different team from last season. This team loves to live in the paint. They get to the free throw line. They can run in transition. And they're finding new ways to win basketball games each and every day. They went on a huge 13-game winning streak this year to kind of give themselves a pretty sustainable cushion in the East. I believe last time I looked, they were a couple games up on the Knicks for the first seed, and they've been the first seed for about a month. They've been the best team in the East for about a month. I know the Knicks won the in-season tournament. They won the NBA Cup. Obviously, we didn't, make it to Vegas, which I kind of think low-key was better for them. They got a week off to just rest and get their bodies right. But I honestly am very impressed with this team. And I don't really think they're too far away to, make it out of the East and possibly make the finals, you guys. I really don't. I think there are some things they do need to clean up. You could address more three-point shooting at the deadline, but I think the core that you have in place in Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, Jaden Ivey, Ron Holland, Sar Thompson, like these guys are all in their 20s, you guys. And the season they had last year where they tripled their win total going into that first round series with the New York Knicks, I think they have an understanding of what it takes to win basketball games. And I think each game they're learning new things about themselves. Like the Portland game, they learned what happens when you don't finish a game out and you try to give a team any type of life. Tonight was another example of, again, taking your foot off the gas and giving a team an opportunity to come back in this game. I'm waiting for a game this season where they have a 20-point lead and they sustain it for a full 48. And I think those are learning experience that this team can learn through a long NBA season. We're only 30 games in, obviously. I'm sure there are things that JB wants to clean up. I'm sure there are things that, the players want to clean up and get better at. But I think if you're a Piston fan, you're feeling very confident. You're feeling very happy with this team. It's the best start since I believe, the 2005-6 season that the broadcast mentioned. So this team is just firing on all cylinders, and they're playing really good basketball right now. But I do see a couple more comments and questions with you guys. I see a comment from Ari, so let me put it on the screen. Is it a minute restriction for Jaden Ivey or JB Bickerstaff confidence in finishing the games with them? Pretty sure yesterday Ari Hunter Patterson had a quote with Jaden Ivey and kind of like how it's really difficult for a player, coming off the injuries that he came off and, getting back into the action of, playing 30 minutes a game. I think if you can just look at the box scores, he's played 20 minutes one time since coming back from injury. I think right now it's just reconditioning his body, getting used to playing basketball again. Because you have to remember, the guy was out for 11 months, played one preseason game. I don't really think you can count that as, actually getting in condition because he had to have arthroscopic surgery and he was out for 6 weeks. So I think it's just JB, like keeping him on a minute restriction, keeping him around 14 to 18 minutes a game right now. Maybe eventually it does get lifted into the 20s and you can work your way back up to, 30s possibly. But it'll be interesting to see and something to keep an eye on if you're a Piston fan, because I think when you do look at the shooting guard rotation, you have Karis LeVert kind of taking up a bulk of those minutes. You also have Dennis Jenkins some nights, getting anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes a night. So it'll be interesting to see what JB does with the rotation going forward with Jaden Ivey once his minute restriction is lifted. And I'm sure the medical staff has told JB, like, kind of ease him into it. Don't go out and play him 30 minutes a night. And I'm sure JB understands that as a coach. It's coached for a long time in the NBA. Ben Foe, we need Cade Cunningham chance at Ford Field since the Lions wet the bed. Oh, wouldn't that be funny? I guess the Lions can still make the playoffs if the Packers lose out and they win out, but I don't know how likely that is to happen. I don't know if Lions fans would chant Cade Cunningham at Ford Field. But I'm pretty sure they played their last home game, if I did hear correctly on the broadcast when I was watching the Pistons, the Lions versus Steelers last weekend, which that was just such a wild game. Like, they got a touchdown, but it was pass interference. Like, just a wild game for the Lions. Really wild game. DeMar DeRozan averaged 4 fouls on the season, and today he got 15, while Cade had 2 before the intentional foul. This is why I think the officials are messing with his head. We've gotten into just officiating and why I think league-wide it's bad. It gets to a point where, like, you just have to play on. Like, if you get fouled, just go back on defense. Obviously, some fouls are more egregious than others where, like, you're probably gonna say something to a ref, but I mean, Cade has been, if you turn the games up, you can hear Cade like getting to the refs here saying, "Hey, man, it's a foul," and I'm actually keeping it PG. Like, you hear Cade drop f bombs and saying "and one," like Cade's kind of sick of like getting hammered and disrespect, and I don't really know if it's going to change. He made all NBA. He's an all-star. He's in MVP rankings, and he's still not getting to the line as much as I think he should. Believe he's ranked 13th in the NBA, getting to the free throw line right now. I honestly think he should be in top 10 in those conversations for the rest of his career, just for the amount of contact that he does take. But I also think him being a taller guard, I think officials have a hard time officiating him. What's a foul? What's not? But I mean, I think if you're just nitpicking with the officials, uh, when Cade does get hacked and when he doesn't, it just gets to a point where you're going to be miserable. Like, DeMar DeRozan is really good at just seeking contact, creating contact, and I don't think that's part of Cade's game. Cade isn't looking to bump into a defender's chest and create contact like a Trey Young or a James Harden or DeMar DeRozan, for example, right? He's just not. I don't really think that's part of his game. I don't think he's one of those players that looks to flop or create contact like that. But I agree, man. Like, it's really annoying as a fan to watch. 5-0 West Coast trip is on the way. Great way to wrap it up in 2025. That'd be nice if you did, win every game on this West Coast trip. I believe you have Utah, you have the Clippers, and then you have the Lakers, which is going to be a primetime game. NBC picked that up. Lakers are actually really bad defensively. They're a really wild team, actually. Like, they have great offensive weapons in Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, and LeBron can score, anywhere from like 20 to 30 points on any given night. But if you go out west and have a 5-0 West Coast trip, I think that's when you're going to start seeing the national media pay a little bit more attention, give them a little bit more respect. But as of right now, they just have not given the Pistons respect. It's always like, oh, the Knicks might get the number 1 seed. You never know. do a couple more comments and questions, and then I'll probably wrap this up with you guys. Eric has a comment about the most regular season wins by the Pistons. 63-19. The bad boys don't remember if it was the first ring or back-to-back ring. I do remember them kind of talking about that because the win pace the Pistons are on. They could get up into the upper 50s, possibly 60s. I'm pretty sure they did win a championship that year. I can actually look on Basketball Reference really quick. I don't remember off the top of my head the 63-19 Pistons, but let me look as we are going live on this podcast. I do apologize. This is really bad podcasting on my part. Yeah, 63-19 was the 1988-89 Pistons. They won the finals that year. That was their first chip. And then the year after, they went 59-23. In the Phantom Fall year, where they lost in the finals, they went 54-28. So, yeah, 63 wins is the franchise record for the Pistons in wins. I think after that, the season that they keep comparing the Pistons right now, actually, I'm sorry, 64-18 was the franchise record. I misspoke. I apologize, you guys. 64-18. They lost in the conference finals under Flip Saunders. So 63 and 64 were the highest win totals by the Detroit Pistons in this one. I probably should have scrolled up. I did see some people talk about the 05-06 year and the Bad Boys year. So 64-18 by Flip. So that was a weird year too, because like Flip was very offensive minded and we kind of went away from our defense. And I know I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole with the Going to Work Pistons when they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals that year. But yeah, man, like if this team wins 60 wins, I mean, like that's an insane jump. I think they're on pace to win around 60 games the way they're going right now. But I was surprised when I just like researched it, because I did think actually the 63-19 Bad Boys were the highest win total in franchise history, but it was Flip Saunders and the Pistons when they went 64-19. But I'm probably going to wrap this podcast up, you guys. I appreciate you, tapping on in. Don't know if you guys are going to watch Christmas Day games. Low key, like the first game is Cavs Knicks. Should be Pistons Knicks, in my opinion. Like that would have been like the perfect Christmas Day game. Perfect Christmas Day game. But they have like 4 West Coast games after that. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Take care. Have a good night. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.